in this computer. Okay, recordings in progress. Welcome everyone once again. We have 10 devotees with us. That's very nice. So let's offer some prayers to Srila Prabhupada before we begin. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swanti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivasisha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, opening up some Kaumudi, and my bookmark shows page 462. Does that sound correct, or is that the right bookmark? Yeah. Yeah, this is a very interesting chapter. Well, they all are interesting. But I'm doing this course, which is taken from this book we're reading. It's called Making Friends with the Mind. And I'm going to follow up that with another couple of classes, course. And it's based on this present chapter that we're reading now. How to be attentive in our reading and our chanting. So for your information, if you see that poster come along, that's what it's all about. You're welcome to attend. And it's probably going to be a live breathing human being.
Is it going to be this Sunday, is it?
Yeah, well, this is the second class coming up this Sunday.
First one, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't pull off the Zoom. I didn't have anybody here to help me. So this one is just live in person. But anyway, you're going to get what we're actually reading through what I'm presenting presently. Yeah.
But
okay. Sorry.
It's good. To recap, you know.
It is. Yeah. So if anyone would like to come, you're more than welcome. This Sunday from 10:30 to 12:30. Providing Krishna willing, if I get back from Scotland in time. I'm arriving late at night the day before. Anyway, Hare Krishna, let's jump in to our reading. And Mother Mongo has shot his golden hand up.
But I don't have the book. I don't know if
you don't have the book, then you can't read it, can you?
Dear, oh dear.
Yeah, soon, I think soon it will come out in online version, so I get that when it does come out. But yeah, so reading is those who have the textbook with them, who have the book. So Chandravali, Mother Chandravali, you can read. So 462, beginning with the section under the 4 asterisks. We begin this section.
Okay, we begin this section by examining Sanskrit synonyms for attentiveness. We do so in order to acquire a better grasp of the different meanings of the word in a bhakti context. We begin with the word Sadhana. Parikshit Maharaj utters this word to solicit his mother's special attention for the very confidential topic he is about to diverge. How in Dwarka Lord Krishna suffers due to his aesthetic feeling of separation from Raj. The king says, He man matra idanim swam swadhana tarabhav. My dear mother, please now be fully attentive. Another example is the following stanza, which all devotees are familiar with. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bandamuve Savatan Mate. We sing these lines daily during Guru Puja as part of Narottam Das song, Shri Guru Vandana. Srila Prabhupada translates the word Savadana as worship him with great care, great awe.
Yeah, just just as a note, the reason why this is being brought up, because this is considered an essential ingredient for actually making progress to different levels of Krishna consciousness, is the particular attitude or the mindset when we're hearing and chanting. And it's a challenge because this day and age, there's so much distractions, there's so many things going on in our lives that sometimes it's difficult to actually be attentive. So this Maharaj really emphasizes the need, and he reminds us of the need and the value of being attentive. So that's what he's presenting here. So, for instance, he was quoting Maharaj Parikshit, "My dear mother, please now be fully attentive, and again worship with great care, with great awe." So that's just to let you know, that's the context. This is the presentation. Okay.
Okay. The verb root of Sadhana is da, which means to put, and the prefix ava means down. So avadana means putting down, to put unnecessary things away, or by contrast, to place an essential thing in its place is called avadana. Add the prefix sa, and we have the adverb savadana, meaning with attention. With these two examples, we have the following meaning for being attentive: to place our wandering mind and devotions where they belong in Guru and Krishna. The next synonyms.
Cinnamon is pronounced cinnamon. Oh, am I pronouncing it right? It's not like cinnamon tree, cinnamon spice.
No, tell me. Synonym. Okay, whatever.
Synonym.
Cinnamon, that's it. Thank you.
Synonym.
Cinnamon. Okay, I like the cinnamon word. The next synonym for attentiveness is avahita. It is similar to savadhan in that the root da and its prefix ava has basically the same meaning. We may note that this verb root da has many meanings depending on the context in which it is used. An example for this use is when Brahma offers prayers to the Lord. Sukadev describes the attitude of the Creator saying, Gebistwa. Oh no, I can't do that.
Avahindriyaha. Oh, Gebishtu avahindriyaha.
Gosh, can you tell Marat to write in English, please? Okay, with a fixed mind in Brahma, offered the Lord with a fixed mind. He, Brahma, offered the Lord prayers as written or approved by Vedic literature. In other words, the Creator was fixed in mind without deviation. Oh, that word again.
Avahindriya. Avahitendriya.
Avahitendriya is a compound of avahita and indriya. From avahita, we require further insight into the meaning of attentive, which is to be fixed in mind and not deviate from an intended purpose. God, it's quite
okay. Yeah, so again, Marge is just, he's getting into the Sanskrit cinnamon here. So therefore, he's opening up the meaning of being attentive according to different Sanskrit definitions. And it's quite profound, actually. Like for this one, to place our wonder, because our minds are wandering here and there. So we really have to place our mind firmly in the process of hearing and chanting. Yeah, firmly where they belong. So this is what the word savadana, we sing, Bando Muri Savadana Mate. So I don't know how many times we sang that, but great, it means great care and great awe. So that should be our approach to hearing and chanting. With great care and with great awe do we hear Krishna Katha.
Can I add something here a little bit?
Yes, please.
I think if we understand actually what we sing, then we will be able to focus more. Because if you just sing in Sanskrit or Hebrew and we don't understand what does it mean, it will be more difficult to focus.
Yeah, very good point. That's why, especially those who have been around for a few years, we should know what we're singing. It definitely helps. And yeah, sometimes I deliberately go over it in my mind while we're singing Guru Puja, just to help me to be attentive. Sometimes I'm consciously translating the Sanskrit words while I'm attending Guru Puja, you know, just to clean my act up, you know, just to make sure I am being attentive. You know, what is also the samsara prayers. Some of you might do at home, or those who come in for the program. What do they mean? I mean, Nama-sankirtana did a course with you, wasn't it, with your group here on the samsara prayers? Is that right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So,
You know, like
anyway.
Sadhana, when you're singing in a Sri Guru Charan Padma, like you can see, but when it was separate here as the word, I couldn't get it, you know?
Yeah, that's why I thought to remind you. He comes, he's there. Bandhu Muri Sabadan. Oh, Bandhu, old friend. It means, oh, Bandhu, friend, please, with great care, hear this message. And Brahma also, in Maharaj is quoting Lord Brahma, Gibishtu Avahatendriya, with fixed mind. You know, it was as if Brahma, when he was chanting the Brahma Samhita, was inattentive. He was very attentive. It wasn't as if he was, you know, looking at his phone. He's being very attentive. But perhaps I can't see any more hands out there for reading. But perhaps I'm going to jump in and have a little read, if you don't mind. Okay, so anyone else would like to read after myself? You feel free to put your hand up. So top of page 464. Okay. How else could sadhakas attain bhava? Okay, that's our goal, is bhava. As sadhakas, we're aiming for bhava. And unless we're attentive, there ain't going to be any bhava. Yeah, or it will be slow, slow, slow. Okay, the next synonym is wonderfully graphic. In his plays, Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, Rupa Goswami employs the word utkana, a word that conjures up a true picture of what attentiveness is meant to be. The prefix ud means up, and kana means ear. Utkana, therefore, means perking up your ears. Yeah. I'm sure we all have that habit. I was offering the breakfast arti here, and there was a class, and the devotee was speaking, and he's in his class, he was started speaking about a subject that I'm reading about at the moment. My eyes went, not my eyes, my ears, they perked up. Oh, and I paid extra attention. I made a conscious effort. My ears kind of perked up. Utkana. I wanted to hear what he was saying about this specific subject. But other than that, I was offering the incense, you know, wasn't really tuned in completely. Because I was tuned into what I was doing as well. But, so perking up your ears. Yeah, perking up your ears. Utkana. When Krishna hears the sound of Radha's ankle bells, or when Madhu Mangal hears the flute song, they listen with rapt attention. Yeah, hear the sound. Or they raise their ears. Here is one example in which the narrator introduces Krishna using utkana. I'll just read the translation. Again, he listens with rapt attention, perking his ears. Then, his bodily hairs standing in ecstasy, he says, moving through the air in waves of sweetness, the tinkling sound of Radha's ankle bells silences the cooing of the sadasha birds, maddened with amorous passion, and fills my heart with a host of ecstasies. So this word is used here, utkana. So Krishna, on hearing Radha's ankle bells, is very attentive. Here, attentiveness is nicely described as lending an ear to something that is taking place or being spoken. Just like if you start hearing someone speaking about you, ourselves, wow, what are they saying? Maybe perk your ears up. Is being spoken. Without reviewing the grammar in much detail, let us look at a few more informative synonyms for the word attentive. Aparamata, samahita, sushamahita, and attendita. So he's going to describe these words now. Aparamata literally means not intoxicated or not mad. It is the opposite of the extreme mode of ignorance. This means that attentiveness is a state of spiritual sobriety. In other words, if one is not fixed in devotional service, be one a yogi or a jnani, he is distracted and captured by the Lord's illusory potency. Aparamata means mad. One's become intoxicated by the illusory potency. And one is not paying attention to Krishna. They become intoxicated, so they're mad. Aparamata. The word samahita implies bringing together and assembling of things. When samahita refers to the mind or consciousness, it means to collect thoughts, to concentrate the mind in meditation. Thus, attentiveness also means bringing together one's faculties to one place. For devotees, that one place is sadhana. When the prefix su is added to samahita, then we have shamahita, which further amplifies attentiveness in both its intensity and attainment. This makes clear that attentiveness means concentrating the mind and senses, a concentration that has both qualitative and quantitative gradations. Yeah, and I can't help but share a personal example. Like just recently, like I'm here in Scotland, and I arrived the day before the head pujari is going away. So in one day, in one session, she has to show me the whole morning puja. I was super attentive. I was really attentive because I know I had one chance to hear what she's going to say and get it right. Of course, they have a book there as well. But I found myself being very attentive because of the need, So in one sense, if we can understand our need, if we can understand our desperate plight, lost in this material world, and our distance from the spiritual world, then in that regards, we might be very, very attentive to our hearing and chanting. So it just came to mind,
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please, my Raj Kishore.
Sometimes I find that when I'm trying to be very, very attentive, I fall asleep. I have to have that little space to, otherwise it's too much attention. It just makes you fall asleep.
I think Jambavati was speaking about with this attentive recently, wasn't it, last week, about class.
He needs to be doing things, he said, remember?
Yeah. But therefore, the time of day that you read should be worked out. If you're going to read at last thing at night, when you've been active throughout the whole day, then there's a pretty good chance you're going to fall asleep. But if you're going to, perhaps you might move when the reading to another time in a day. And if you still fall asleep then perhaps you've got to look at your schedule and plan it out. I mean, sometimes what I do when I'm reading, especially if I'm reading pastimes, then I have meditation music going, and I enter into like, I'm reading it in a meditative mood and I'm picturing what I'm reading as best as I can. That's also, you can do that as well in reading Prabhupada's books. Sometimes I do that, is when Prabhupada's speaking about Krishna or speaking about the universes, then within my mind, I'm picturing the universes as best as I can. I haven't seen all the universes. You understand? So like I'm deliberately trying to enter deep into it. If he's speaking about Lord Brahma, then I'm picturing Lord Brahma. I'm trying to enter into what's being explained. Sometimes I find that quite helpful. Then it can be really relishable like that. There's prayerful reading. Yeah, there's prayerful reading as well, where your mood is prayerful. Yeah, so anyway, keep on trying.
In reading, I find
Thank you very much. Thank you. It helps, something like this. That's still little advice,
Yes.
but it does help.
Yes. Experience it. Yes, Mother Chandravali, you?
Yeah, I was thinking like in reading when it's like some like philosophy or like difficult thing, then the mind is
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, me as well.
Same as you reading Srimad Bhagavatam or CC or something like that, and it's all about Krishna and associates, and then you're alive and you can get into it, and
Yeah, we have a different taste, we have a different inclinations, things that enliven us. So yeah, that's kind of natural. That's going to be there. But I find when I'm reading technical aspects of philosophy, then I find like this discussion, like this can be quite technical, what we're reading now.
Yeah.
But if we're reading together, then it helps us to go a bit deeper and to be attentive, So that's something else. To reading groups, I know some of you have reading groups amongst yourselves, 2 or 3 of you. That's also good. But yeah, that's natural there. You're going to hear the pastimes and that. Mother Jambavati, you normally have your hand up for a question or comment.
She has a hand.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, I'm so sorry to disturb. I just,
No problem.
was listening about this attentiveness, and I find it almost like abuse. I'm sorry, because this is like something, for example, principles. Yeah, like stressing, you have to keep following principles, regulative principles. Yeah, that's okay. We know it. We don't have to go and smoke or break for, that's normal. It's our choice. But when attentiveness, we can't focus our mind. It's not choice. It's not a choice. It's our condition. It's perfectly fine that we have to know it. But when we start focusing on attentiveness and meditating on attentiveness, it means we don't know what we're doing, and our focus is not Krishna, not something, but we're working on ourselves. And you have to say, it's like in Western psychology, focusing on yourself, me and myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even, I'm not attentive. Like, for example, me, during class while I'm taking off, because I'm answering calls, I'm leaving messages, I'm doing 25 jobs, but it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I can hear half, but when everything is quiet in different time, I put the class over and over again, 5-6 times, and then I'm fine. Because
something goes in.
Yeah, something goes in, because this is condition. Some people cannot focus once straight away. It's difficult to focus, and this is not our choice, but this is condition.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's good. Like we're approaching it like we are approaching it like we are training our mind. We are hearing about the importance of hearing, and gradually we are trying to train ourselves to be attentive to Krishna.
Yes, this is exactly.
So it's not going to happen overnight,
Yes.
you know, but this is what we want to achieve, because the idea, the more we can be attentive, then the more in the latter stages of Krishna consciousness, we can delve deeper and obtain higher levels of Krishna consciousness by
Yes.
being attentive.
Yes.
You know, so I guess what we're saying, what you're saying is air conditioning, but then we have taken up bhakti yoga, which requires us to be attentive. So then we have to gradually learn to be attentive by understanding the importance of it and then applying it as best we can. But your point is taken. It's not like switching a switch.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
It's air conditioning. Yeah. But we're going to try and change our conditioning. That's the idea. We want to change our conditioning. Anybody else on this while we're here? Okay, where was I reading from? I'll just read one more page. Whoops. I wasn't attentive, so I wasn't paying attention.
We also didn't feel attentive. That's why
I think it's 465, and finally, isn't it?
Yeah.
And finally, we have attentiveness, which is the opposite to being lazy or wearied. Okay, this word indicates the foundation of attentiveness, which is to be well rested and free from lassitude. Lassitude means tiredness. Interesting. Rajkishore was asking this question. An alternative meaning of attentiveness can refer to a marginal attainment of developed attentiveness, which is that sadhakas become free of all bodily demands. One verse that exemplifies this attainment was spoken by King Parikshit to Sukadeva Goswami. Well, because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I'm drinking the nectar of the topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. The above Sanskrit synonyms for attentive are meant to give us a deeper understanding of what being attentive is and why it is important for the sadhaka. Let us now assemble the essence of those Sanskrit words to give a comprehensive meaning to attentiveness as viewed from the context of sadhana bhakti. Now this, I remember I took note of this before. This is a wonderful paragraph here where Maharaj gives a wonderful summary of these points. So if someone asks you what it means to be attentive, this is what you might say. Okay, everyone's paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Trying.
Attentiveness in devotion means to fix the mind without deviation on the goal of attaining bhava. This attentiveness entails carefully hearing from saints and making the instructions of Guru and Krishna one's life. By investing all his faculties in the process of sadhana without lassitude, a practitioner regains his spiritual sanity. Then, by the strength garnered from Nama-sankirtana and Srimad Bhagavatam, he systematically plumbs the depths of smarana, I was mentioning it, to reach the state of Krishna consciousness where, among other things, he is free from all bodily demands such as weariness. That is a way of attentive sadhana. Okay? Very nice, sir. So Maharaj sums up all those points in this paragraph here. Yeah.
So
I just
mind. I'm just thinking, fix your mind because your goal is to attain bhava, right? So for that, you have to be attentive, very attentively here.
Yeah, Sadhana, hearing from saints, hearing from the Guru.
The instructions, Guru and Krishna, right? I'm just getting it into my head.
Yeah.
invest all your faculties, means all your senses in a way.
Yeah, well, first you actually dedicate your life to the principle, to the following instructions.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
Guru and Krishna, right?
yeah.
And then invest all your senses without being lazy. Practice it to gain your spirituality. No.
Yeah, sanity. Then we become, we start to become more aware, and we start to become more awake.
Into chanting, reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Meditating. Okay.
Yeah, as so saying, so through that ability to meditate and focus the mind, you can plumb the depths of smarana. So smarana means to remember.
Yes.
Different levels of the Maharaj will describe that. That's coming up. Different levels of remembrance of Krishna's pastimes, etc.
And see, the thing is, like, you reading it, you can understand it, you're kind of following it, and then you forget about it. That's where you lose it, you know. I'm digesting it as you're reading, and I'm like putting it into my own words and thinking, and yet I will forget it after a while.
No, something will be there. Something, you know, what? Don't expect to remember this paragraph for it's asking too much to remember the paragraph word for word. And every synonym that Maharaj used. But the overall effect is that you understand the importance of being attentive. And you take that away. Yeah, I need to practice that. The next class, when I sit down to chant japa, then from what we read, I have to be attentive. You know. So yeah, I think don't expect, we're not, what's it, Shrutidar? Don't expect to remember everything that we read.
Listen to it once.
I think subtly we record everything what's happening to us, and we understand, but we think we forget. We don't forget. It's just maybe we cannot bring it up so easy because we are not so trained. But everything is recorded, I think.
Yeah, actually, you're not far wrong, Mother Mongol. There's trying to think of the exact quote. And everything that the mind experiences, every emotion, everything that we witness within the mind goes into the repository of the mind. You know, so therefore, yeah, it goes into the subconscious, goes into the subconsciousness, and as we described, I think last week or one of our readings, it comes up at night, sometimes in weird dreams. But sometimes I have the experience, if I'm giving a class, sometimes I might remember something I read 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and it's just in there. Krishna brings it out at that specific. And sometimes for me, that gives me great comfort, great assurance that, yeah, all your reading and studying and is not going to waste. It's actually having its effect on cleaning our heart. Yeah. And as Mother Mongol says, nothing that the mind associates with or hears is ever lost. But, you know, an interesting, my mind's gone in a different, something else came to mind as well, that I just heard some time ago, or about a month ago, an interesting take on why we can't, on the phenomena of why, as we get older, we cannot remember. I experienced that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Now, it's not because of one theory is because it's not because of some type of malfunction within our brain. But it's because of overload. Because after it's like, consider like, yeah, we're after 1 year, 2 year, 5, 10, 15, we're hearing so much information is coming in that when you get into your 50s and 60s, it's kind of, your brain's overloaded. That's why persons, you know, previously where life was more structured and more simple, so to speak, people could have, they wouldn't have such problems. So understanding that, perhaps we want to try and keep our mind as less cluttered as possible. The things that are not going to be helpful for our spiritual life, we don't really want to hear all the details about. Anyway, just a side point. I heard that theory that the reason
Like
we can't remember.
It's like a house of a hoarder, which brings stuff all the time, and he makes just a little pots, and he cannot walk anymore because it's so much stuff inside.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Sounds like me.
It's like a full drive,
It's like a what?
full hard drive.
Yeah, full hard drive. Yeah, that's it.
But it doesn't really make sense because people used to live much longer, like in Vedic times, and they lived full lives. So the theory means to say that we cram in so much more than, well, they don't know that people used to live longer.
Well,
It's just a theory.
Well, just consider, for example, the life in Vedic times. Just consider the one example. There was no such thing as television. There's no such, and think of how much useless information comes through television and the internet. The only thing that was going on is in a local village. They don't, for instance, someone, they don't know all the details of a war going on 2,000 miles away. They don't know about it. They don't know anything about it. All they know is how many cows are in the field.
We're constantly bombarded with everything from everywhere.
Yeah, and that's our handicap today. So if we can try and simplify our life so we don't take in so much information which we're being fed in this information crazed age, then we can probably find it better to remember Krishna ultimately.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. This is iPad.
Yes, Sharada.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sharada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just want to say, I just remember one verse, which is Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata Bhajana Kriya Anartha Nivritti Sadh. So I think if we have too many anarthas within us, then probably it will take a time to remember the things, because we have to purify our heart and the brain with all these things.
Yeah, that's true. But it will get clean quicker the more attentive we are.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in a mess, so to speak. But if we're paying attention, it's just like if you've got a dirty room, and if you're not attentive, it's going to take a long time to clean. But if you're really attentive and focused, you can clean it a lot quicker. It's the same with our consciousness. So that's why it's so important to be attentive, because we can clean our mind a lot quicker. Yeah, like we can make more advancement in one attentive japa than we can make in 5 years of japa. 5 years of japa, then we may be attentive, really attentive, and we can make more progress than we made in a whole year of japa if we're attentive. So something to think about. Hare Krishna.
A lot to think about. When you are on a fast track, thinking, okay, I need to hear, I need to read, I need to do this, I need to do that. Then it's like, you can't just slow down.
Yeah, we have to be organized, so we should try and focus, have a schedule and focus on what we want to do. I mean, it's a balancing act. I mean, every day we all have to deal with this. There's so many things that are coming at us, and sometimes we can focus, sometimes we can't, but let's try and at least understand the importance of being focused.
I was just thinking, Prabhu.
Yes,
okay.
please.
It came to my mind. If we chant like Bilva Mangala Thakur, just trying to hold of Krishna, because he is blind. So we consider that we blind. And like without our senses going here and there, because he's blind, he's just concentrating on Krishna, just to hold on. Where are you? Like that. So I think keeping some senses closed, thinking that we don't have that. So I think that would help.
Yeah, that's more of a yogic type of path, closing down as senses. Or perhaps we could translate that as when we chant, be in a place with as less distraction as possible.
Yeah.
You know, sit down in the house or find a place where you're going to sit down and you're going to be less distracted.
I was hearing on the other day, sometime back at Mana, Mataji was giving the class, Shyamal Sundar Prabhu's wife. I can't remember her name now. Okay, she was saying, okay, I chant, I walk and chant. Okay, this cushion is not good. I put the cushion back on the sofa. Then I walk, I see, oh, the television, the one tablecloth is not good. So I put the table, I keep chanting, but because we are so distracted, whenever we think something wrong, we try to get into that, leaving Krishna aside. She was making a confession. You know.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it's interesting. And also, I mean, this at the stage of ruchi, then you can't be inattentive. It's impossible to be attentive at the stage of ruchi because it's so attractive. And that's why devotees at this stage, they become inattentive to the material world. Yeah, just like I think it's a story of Raghunath Das Goswami, who was chanting. He was so absorbed in his chanting that even there was a tiger which was prowling around him, you know, and he didn't even know the tiger was there. He was just lost in his bhajan, and Sanatana Goswami saw it. And I think either Krishna came and the tiger went or something like that. But there's examples you can read of. And so I'm just bringing up this point that if we focus at the higher stages of Krishna consciousness, it's not really a problem. Because when they're chanting Krishna, Krishna's literally dancing within their heart and mind.
Yeah, but Prabhu, to go there, also we had to be attentive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So how
to get there, we have to. So that's why it's good that Marge is speaking about this subject, so we can hear about it. You know. Let's read a bit more.
Let's be attentive and go forward.
Yeah. Someone else. Let me just read up to these 4 asterisks, then we'll hand it over to Kunamai. You have your hand up. Okay. In studying these and other synonyms for attentiveness, the one which most represents the paragraph above is the word ekagra, which literally means one-pointedness, with one-pointed attention. Brahma Sutra says, yatre kagrata tatravishanat. This aphorism implies that the only requirement for sadhana is one-pointed attention, ekagrata, a topic that is discussed in detail in the following section. Our point here is that for this unique quality, Vyas chose the word ekagrata, thus we take it to be unique. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna repeatedly uses the same word and stipulates that the qualification of a yogi is an attentive mind. Ekagram mana kritva yata chatendriya kriyaha. Quote, the yogi should then sit very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Ekagram. Unquote. And at the conclusion of his teachings, Krishna asks, Kachit etat chuttam pata tvaye kagrena chetasa. Quote, have you heard this with an attentive mind? Ekagrena. In both references, Krishna uses the word ekagra. Ekagra. As already mentioned in the introduction, Srimad Bhagavatam repeats the use of ekagra in exacting context, thus emphasizing the need of a devotee's one-pointedness in sadhana. Following these examples, we too have chosen to use the word ekagra in this chapter. Therefore, based on the definition of attentiveness above, readers will know clearly what we mean when writing one-pointedness, one-pointed attention, ekagra. Am I pronouncing this correctly? Ekagra, or is derivatives? Okay, so now Marge is going to elaborate on this word. Okay, let's have someone else reading. Unless there's some questions or comments, otherwise, you can pick it up from here. 467. It's under the asterisk. It says, let us now.
Okay. Let us now take a brief look at the teachings and examples of the Lord and his devotees on the importance of single-pointed concentration in affecting successful sankalpas. The Brahma Sutra verse, Yatra kagra la tatra vishanat, emphasizes the stature of ekagrata, attentiveness, as a unique overriding requirement for effective meditation. The verse literally translates as, where is the single-pointed concentration there? Because nothing is specific. If we unpack the translation, then its full meaning is, wherever the yogi can find single-pointed concentration, at that place he may practice meditation. This is because the scriptures make no other requirement on which location a yogi must practice in. A reader may raise the following objection to the translation. Surely being in a holy place like Vrindavan is more important for practicing Krishna consciousness than attentiveness. The short answer of Brahma Sutra is no. The overriding factor of the for sadhana is the ability to be attentive. This objection is not new, but was current during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers. To allay that argument, Baldev Vidyabhushana wrote an extensive commentary which confirms our summary answer above. Because it is so relevant and instructive, we reproduce the Acharya's commentary in full. This sutra means, in whatever direction, place, or time, yatra, that the mind finds single-pointed concentration, ekagrata, in that direction, place, or time, tatra, one should worship Lord Hari. The meaning is that in the worship of the Lord, there is no restriction of direction, place, or time. Why is that? The sutra answers, avishinet, because there is nothing specific, which means because in this matter, scriptures give neither specific prohibitions nor make specific prescriptions. The Varaha Purana offers full confirmation of this conclusion. It says, one should seek a place, time, situation, and sensory environment where the mind becomes peaceful and cheerful. Other than that, there is no specific instruction regulating these factors. Place, time, situation, and sensory environment may be chosen to facilitate a peaceful and cheerful mind. Someone may still object, saying, it is not so. Scriptures do establish rules regarding the suitable place for worship. For example, in the Sweta Vatsara Upanishad, it is said, one should practice yoga in a solitary place free from stones and wind. It should be clean, pure, flat, pleasing to the mind, not unpleasing to the eyes, secluded, and far from noisy bathing places. Additionally, it is commonly taught that one must meditate in a holy place, for holy places bring liberation. To this I reply, yes, it is true. Still, there may be an unfortunate situation where one is unable to take shelter of a holy place. If there is no such misfortune, then one should stay in a holy place and worship the Lord there. Nevertheless, the verse above offers the final conclusion in the words mano nukule, meaning one should find a place that is pleasing to the mind, and that is the overriding consideration of all other requirements. The gist of the great Acharya's argument is that the holy places, the Brahma Muhurt, the bank of a body of water, and where people do not congregate, are all helpful in the practice of Krishna consciousness. But more important than these considerations is the place where one can be attentive. If attentiveness is more easily attained in the absence of these criteria, or if a sadhaka has no access to them, then most important thing is one-pointed attention to the mind. This reasoning is supported by other acharyas. For example, in translating and commenting on the verse beginning with Krishnam, Smaranam Janam Chasya, Srila Prabhupada translates the phrase Kuryad Vasam Vraje Sada as, when one should live in Vrindavan, if one is physically unable to go to Vrindavan, he should mentally live there. Elsewhere, Prabhupada comments on the same verse. The purport is that if it is possible, one should go and physically be present in Vrajabhumi, Vrindavan, and be engaged always in the service of the Lord, following the devotees in the Vrajtam, the spiritual realm of Vraj. If it is not possible, however, to be physically present at Vrindavan, one can meditate anywhere upon living in that situation, wherever he may be. One must always think about life in Vrajadam and about following in the footsteps of a particular devotee in the service of the Lord. In these quotations, we see that to practice spontaneous devotion, the dominant constant is attentive meditation on service to Krishna, and supporting variant is living in Vraj, either directly or indirectly. This conclusion is strongly emphasized by Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Vishwanath Chakravarti. In summary, attentiveness is a key to Sankalpa.
Okay, perhaps we'll just pause there if there's any questions or comments. Marge is highlighting here, above everything, in other words, the quotes regarding Vrindavan, etc., and also from the Sritasura Upanishad, is emphasizing the need to be attentive. So therefore, the place should help us to be attentive. So Maharaj is saying, because we all know the benefits of being in Vrindavan, but the benefit of being in Vrindavan is hopefully it will help us to be attentive. And if we're in Vrindavan and we're not attentive, then what's the point? Oh, no doubt there'll be some benefit, of course. Yeah. So that's why he comments. So in summary, being attentiveness is the key to reaching different levels of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Just like I had, again, personal example was in Mayapur, and I was in a temple room during the morning program, and I was chanting japa with another 3,000 devotees. And there's announcements before, and there's devotees moving here, moving everywhere. So it was nice. It's very inspiring to be in that atmosphere in one sense. But at some point I was analyzing my japa. So, I need to perhaps find a more quiet place to chant my japa. So then I went back to the place where I was staying, and I chanted japa there. So I was balancing the both, because I found it very inspiring to be there. But at the same time, after a few days, I could see that actually bit too hectic here in the temple room. I better just go and chant my japa in a bit more place which is a bit more quiet, you know? Because you understand, so this is the point Marge is mentioning here. That's why we're advised to go to Vrindavan. Okay, there's benefit there in Krishna did these pastimes, but the main reason for going there because you can chant, because it's a nice atmosphere.
We found a nice place for the ladies upstairs.
Okay.
Panchatattva place upstairs.
Yeah, that's a ladies' place for chanting.
It's really peaceful. Hardly any ladies
Yeah.
are there. We go there every day.
Oh, really?
Or, yeah, it was really peaceful, really nice. About 5, 10, 6, 70 ladies. That's it in the whole big place.
Really?
Or, yeah,
Okay.
nice, really nice, peaceful. And also Prabhupada Samadhi, so quiet.
Yeah, Prabhupada Samadhi is, very, I mean, I had a very wonderful, inspiring time, like me and Ananta Kripa, we decided to go and chant at Prabhupada Samadhi. And we got there and there was no floor space left. There was hundreds of devotees there, all chanting. But it was so inspiring to be in the atmosphere of hundreds, or everyone looking at Prabhupada. And the lights are dim, the lights are low, and you can just hear this really auspicious murmuring of the holy name, and everyone's looking at Prabhupada. Wow, I felt so ecstatic just sitting there, you know. So again, different times, different places, you're going to be inspired, but the main thing is, find that place, find that situation where you can be attentive.
I think we used to run away after Tulsi Arti. Think we can run away. We should just run away for chanting somewhere peaceful.
Yeah, me as well. I used to do that. Tulsi Arti finished, then I'm gone.
God,
Chant
yeah.
around.
Because you could spend half an hour, 40 minutes just in the announcements. Otherwise,
Yeah. So anyway,
Ananda
yes,
Kripa,
please.
just come back. Is he here?
Yeah, he came back before me. He's
He's
back.
in London. Oh, I haven't
Yeah.
seen. Okay, thank you.
He's there. Okay, thank you, everyone. I hope this was of interest, and I hope he was paying attention to what we read, being attentive. And tomorrow we'll continue with Bhagavad Gita. So please join us for that if you can. Okay.
Thank
right.
you.
We'll stop there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Wonderful
Hare
reading.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Bol. I'm going to press the end button and we're all going to disappear. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.